Shakur Stevenson, he's getting a little too impatient. He needs to take a chill pill and relax.
Bob Arum dishes on Shakur Stevenson's newfound retirement. He gives his thoughts. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum.
Terrence Crawford, he
finally speaks out. It's fight week for another one of his fighters, Teofimo Lopez, and he was asked basically about Shakur Stevenson. What do you think about Shakur Stevenson's retirement / frustration? Bob Arum says, and I quote, Shakur wanted to fight Emmanuel Navarrete, who is the 130-pound WBO champion, now moving up to 135. Navarrete was ordered, if he wants to fight for a title, the vacant WBO at 135, he has to fight Denis Berinchyk, which the fight will happen. Shakur is the WBC lightweight 35-pound champion. There are plenty of good fighters for him to fight. Obviously, down the road, we'll be able to do a fight between Shakur and Lomachenko if he's successful with Kambosos, or with Navarrete if he becomes the WBO 135-pound champion. Everything takes patience. Now, Shakur is a tremendous talent, and with a lot of tremendous talent, they become impatient. They want everything today or tomorrow. That's not the way it happens in boxing. So I understand Shakur Stevenson's frustration, but I also understand that now that if he has time to reflect, he's realizing that he's got to be patient and the big fights will come to him. Bob Arum, end quote. Now, I do understand both sides, right? You know, I understand Shakur Stevenson is frustrated because he's like, yo, I'm the WBC champion. I won a vacant belt, and you guys hype up Emmanuel Navarrete. You guys hype up Lomachenko, and then you have other people fight them. But this is the Top Rank special. What do I mean? So look at it when Terrence Crawford, another very talented black fighter that was with Top Rank, you got to look at it. The other name that would have helped Terrence Crawford really graduate and really catapult his career would be Manny Pacquiao. At the time, Manny Pacquiao was with Top Rank and Terrence Crawford was with Top Rank. So conventional wisdom would be, hey, Pacquiao's a legend. He has a lot of merit with his name. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's with Top Rank. Terrence Crawford needs a believable opponent. And this is what Crawford has long time struggled with, is he's such a good fighter. You want to see him in compelling fights. And it has to be opponents that you think at least have some semblance of a shot to beat it. Terrence Crawford was never matched with Manny Pacquiao. I pushed for the fight. They never made it happen. But instead, they gave the fight opportunity to an Australian school teacher / boxer in Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was really unknown in America. Jeff Horn hadn't really fought anyone. He had fought Randall Bailey, who was like 41, 42 years old, and he got hurt in that fight. He only had maybe 15, 16 fights, and Top Rank used the region he's from, Australia, to put Manny Pacquiao out there. Like, hey, you want to see a legend Pacquiao? We're going to put it in this venue, this big venue in Australia. Come out to see Jeff Horn, one of your guys, versus the legend Manny Pacquiao. And Terrence Crawford never got that opportunity to this day, even though his team talked about wanting to fight Pacquiao. At different points, Bomac said they were going to try to fight in Dubai or Qatar or Saudi Arabia. It never actually came into fruition. But then Jeff Horn loses. Well, actually, he beat Pacquiao, but I thought he should have lost to Manny Pacquiao. He becomes the WBO champion, and then that's when Top Rank decides to feed Jeff Horn to Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford defeated him easily. So in my opinion, that's a weird move. Why did Terrence Crawford not get afforded the opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao, which would have been a bigger fight, especially in America? And I think it would have done great viewership. You can actually put it on pay-per-view instead of Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn, which was on free ESPN, right? And you have to like change the dates because Australia is about a day ahead of us in America, or at least me in California, right? So Crawford should have been given that opportunity, but they gave it to Jeff Horn. And then Jeff Horn, there was a controversy. People thought he lost to Pacquiao. And then you then give Crawford Jeff Horn. So that didn't do as much for Crawford's career because Jeff Horn was never really a big name, and a lot of people thought he didn't even beat Pacquiao. So when Crawford tore him up and took his strap in his WBO belt, it wasn't saying as much as if Crawford would have did the same thing and if he were able to have beaten Manny Pacquiao from General Santos. I believe I do. So now fast forward to Shakur Stevenson. This looks like the same kind of play from Top Rank. You have Shakur Stevenson, who is a super talented black southpaw, and he's undefeated, and he wants the big names, and he's looking for the big names, and you have some of the biggest names that you have like in his weight class or around his weight class, but mysteriously Shakur doesn't get any of them. They're making Emmanuel Navarrete versus this Dennis Baranchink guy, right? They're making Lomachenko versus Kambosos. And, you know, I understand Shakur's frustration with that because at the end of the day, Shakur Stevenson knows he's talented despite his last performance wasn't his best performance. And George Kambosos, I thought he lost his last fight to Maxie Hughes. So how does he get rewarded, you know, if we're being fair, if boxing was fair, which we know it's not, but if boxing were fair, how does George Kambosos get rewarded with a homecoming fight in Australia versus a name like Lomachenko, which if he can beat him, that would obviously do and be very good for Kambosos' resume and brand, right? Kambosos also fought 2 times in Australia versus Devin Haney, and he lost. So how are these decisions made, you know, giving Kambosos the home court advantage in Australia when he lost the last 2 times he fought in Australia to Devin Haney, right? And he should have lost his fight to Maxie Hughes. Like, from the Teofimo win a couple years ago, I don't know. So I understand Shakur Stevenson's frustration. He feels like the odd man out. Like, how is everyone getting better fights and then I'm not getting a unification fight? Like, why don't you put Navarrete versus Shakur and then the winner fight the Dennis Baranchuk guy? Why don't you put Shakur and Lomachenko? And the late Cameron Duncan, who was a boxing manager who recently passed, he did an interview and he said Top Rank has this list that they used to have in their back offices called NBF, No Black Fighters. And this looks like there's some truth to that when it comes to this situation with Shakur Stevenson, because it's deja vu all over again with what happened and what we watched happen with Terrence Crawford. Now, at a point in time, Terrence Crawford was suing Top Rank for like racial bias. I don't know if he dropped the lawsuit altogether, but I haven't really heard much about it in a while. So I'm just going to assume the lawsuit could be off. But these are some of the problems that Crawford said he had with Top Rank and how he was moved with Top Rank. But you have to also blame Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson because this is who you signed to. So you got to work it out and find a way. Like Teofimo Lopez, he's done things like threatened to retire or went over to fight on Triller, which ended up being DAZN because Triller defaulted when things weren't going his way. So Teofimo definitely, he's not afraid to speak his mind and speak out if he feels he's not getting paid fair or whatever the situation is. So I guess that could be the latest with Shakur Stevenson. I still think it's a bad play from Shakur Stevenson because of his last performance. You gotta, if you're gonna threaten a retirement, 1, people gotta believe you, and then 2, it would be better if you were off of a high in your career instead of a low. And I think he's off of a low, and he's had to kind of explain why he looked how he looked versus his last opponent, Edwin De Los Santos. So it's kind of hard for you to be in a position of leverage when your last performance, people are saying you ran and the fight was boring. Some people even say you should have lost that fight. So it is what it is. The other people with Top Rank are getting bigger fights than Shakur Stevenson, and he's visibly upset. Bob Arum has responded and says, you just got to wait your turn, kid. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.